Welcome back. The topic that I'm going to be sharing with you today is one of the topics that I get a lot of DMs from girls, usually younger girls, asking me about hypothalamic amenorrhea. Since I did post a video in my TikTok sharing that, I struggle with hypothalamic amenorrhea for 7 months. This actually started happening last year. So the way it happened was I reached out to a Instagram influencer and I bought I don't want to mention who it is because my intention is not to say anything negative towards a person. I just want to share my experience. So basically, I reached out. I bought the 6-week, I think it was a 6-week challenge. At the end of this challenge, there is a prize. So there was like a first, second, and third place. And obviously with 6 weeks, they give you your diet or like how many calories you should consume. They give you ideas. They give you the workout. They give you how many rest days you should have. So if I want to give you my best advice as a friend, if you're going through HA, first thing that you should do, go to the doctor. If you feel like ask yourself like why you're doing what you're doing. Like, do you really think that losing those 10 pounds, 5 pounds or whatever is going to make you feel happy? To be honest, from my experience, sure, it was impressive to see how committed I was to this process, how far I was able to get, how much I've achieved. But if I was able to do it different now, I would totally do it different. I would do it slowly. Like, the reason why I do not recommend going into like a 6 to 8 week challenge that has a price at the end is because sometimes you can get distracted. And if you're the type of person like me that you are able to adapt to, certain life situations very easily, then you don't notice. If your body's going through like changes, you don't notice if you actually start harming yourself instead of doing good to yourself. So if you're like me or not, ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. If you're going to do one of the 6 or 8 week challenges, take it slow. Learn whatever they give you. Make sure that you're doing it with somebody that knows, and you can reach out to the person just in case something happens and you start feeling weird, or you're, like something goes wrong. Because I actually reached out to them and I told them, hey, this is going on. Like, I feel a little bit tired. Like, I feel like, maybe it's just like too many little calories. Like, I missed my first period. Is everything okay? I didn't hear an answer back. That doesn't mean that they're completely responsible for me, because I was the one that put the food in my mouth. I was the one that was actually going to the gym 6 times a week. Like, I think that's my responsibility. But I do want to say that if you are doing this, like, make sure that you know exactly why you're doing it. Make sure that you understand that you're not going to feel better if you're 10 pounds lighter. Like, you're really not. At least from my experience, I'm going to tell you I'm not. Like, at the end of the day, like, you have to feel good within your own skin. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to work through, the issues that you may have, your relationship with food, your relationship with your body, your relationship with a mirror. Like, next time you go in front of a mirror, notice if the first thought that runs through your head is actually a negative thought, or if it's a positive thought. If you look at yourself and you're just like, wow, I look amazing, then awesome. if the first thing that you look in the mirror and you're just like, oh, I have fat here, this and that, look at the cellulite, you look horrible, or whatever, then work on that. Because when you get to your goal, if you haven't worked on that, on your mindset, then forget it. Like, you're still gonna want more, and you're gonna want more, and you're gonna feel like, okay, then I need to lose 5 more pounds. I thought I still had fat to lose. Dude, I had veins all over my abs. Like, I could not get in. If I got leaner, I would just, like, it was just, no. I was too lean. And that's where the whole thing of, like, body dysmorphia came into my life. And I started realizing, I'm like, I think I have a problem here. I'm like, I think I want more. And there's no more to give. You know, there was no more that I can actually take out from my body. Like, I just needed to put on muscle. I needed to start eating more. It's not like, oh, consume more calories and you'll have your period tomorrow. Or consume more calories and you'll have your period in 4 days. Like, you don't know. Or like, stop training and then you'll have your period in 2 days. Since there's no like perfect recipe for you to get it back, and there's a lot of fear around gaining the weight back, obviously, like, you know, I think we all struggle with the same thing. It doesn't matter how you look, where you're from, how old you are, if you're actually, you know, doing this for fun or not. Like, I think our fears and struggles are the same. So when I went to the doctor and she was like, okay, now you should probably start working out less. And I'm like, okay. That's like my happy place. Like, don't tell me to work out less. I actually did. I listened to her and I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm paying, you know, for her to see me and give me her best advice. I didn't just stay with her advice. I researched a lot. And instead of doing 6 times a week, I started doing 5 times a week, which it wasn't like a big difference. Like, it was just like one day. After that, I was like, okay, let's start consuming a little more calories. So I did consume more calories. Obviously, I gained like the same weight back, but I gained it in like mostly muscle. I do have some fat, but I just focus on training super hard. I ate more. And I was able to build like, I think it's like 9 pounds of muscle approximately that I put on in a year, which is awesome. And I think that's pretty good. I was able to maintain my abs like throughout the process. I know this is not going to be the same for everyone, and some people might get their period back after the first month try. Some people might go years without having the period, like whatever they do. And even if they stop working out completely, even if they start eating 5,000 calories a day. I just want to share my experience because I want to share my experience as real as possible, because I was super fearful about food and not training as much as before. I think we all are. And it sucks because there's no shame in that. Like, why am I going to be ashamed of saying that there was some fear around it? It was something completely new. When you go to the gym, you go to not only feel great, you know, to be able to use your body properly, like throughout life. You know, you want to be able to move and not, you know, without everything hurting. You want to be able to be strong, like at least I do. And there's the aesthetic part, which I love. I love having abs. I love being muscular. Like, I love being able to see my muscles when you have like good lighting. So putting all that into perspective, the one thing that I do recommend is, first thing you have to do is go to the doctor. I wouldn't just stay with one person's opinion. I would also do my research. Also, just if you're super fearful about like gaining weight, which is going to happen, that's probably an indicator that you need to work on yourself when it comes to your relationship with food, your relationship with your body, how you see yourself. You know, like when you look in the mirror, are you first to point out everything negative that you see, or are you first to point out all the positive things that you see? That's one of the things that I first start. Like, it's not like, oh, I conquered the you know, that mentality, or no, like I still have my days where I struggle. But when I do notice that I'm just like just not being my own BFF, and just like talking crap to myself, or just picking out everything that's not right instead of just pointing out everything that's amazing, great, like everything that I worked so hard for. I try to focus my mind into that to just, you know, make myself feel better. So the day that I did get my period back, I was not expecting it. It was February 27th. I was not expecting it. I cried my eyes out. It was a very emotional moment for me. I called my family. I told everyone. Everyone was happy that I was bleeding. And that's when you realize that you don't know what you have until you actually lose it. And after that, there was still a lot of fear with food because I wanted to keep it. Now I was in the fear of gaining weight. I'm like, what did I do in order to get it? And I don't want to lose it again. So it was like a mind fuck, like completely. So your fears sort of changed. Before it was a fear, it was like, how much food am I gonna, like, how much food do I have to eat in order to get my period back? But I don't want to gain weight. And now my mentality shifted, and I was like, okay, I need to eat whatever I've been doing, like the amount of calories or foods or whatever, in order to keep it. And there was a lot of fear in the next month. Like every time it would be like the time for me to actually get my period, I was like, oh my God, I need to get my period. Like, I hope I'm doing it right. Like I would be more conscious about taking breaks and like having my rest days. I do want to mention that ever since I had HA, my periods have not been like every 21 to 28 days. I don't think I was ever 21 to 28 days before hypothalamic amenorrhea. But now I'm more towards like every 2 months. And my doctor said that she honestly thinks like that's like the best. If that's what we have, that's what we have. And that's better than actually being like, you know, like taking hormones or like taking your birth control. Like, this is my natural period. My journey to get the weight back after I started struggling with HA was not perfect. It wasn't like, I'm gonna add 100 calories like, I go out with my friends. Like, I'll have drinks. I'm not going to track when I'm at a restaurant. Like, I just don't. If you do it, great. Like, that's awesome. But I wasn't doing that. A lot of things that I did were not planned out. Like, I honored whatever I was feeling at the moment. One day I just wanted to stay home and eat 6 cups of like popcorn, which I love popcorn. That's like my go-to snack. I would do that. And then, you know, sometimes the next day I would wake up and I'm like, I feel a little, you know, fluffy or whatever. And I would just have to constantly work on my mindset. And it wasn't like from one day to the other, like, oh my God, like perfect mindset. Like, I love my body. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, oh, you look amazing. No, I think that doesn't happen to anyone. It doesn't matter how great you look, how well you think, or how like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, we all struggle. We all have different struggles. And maybe one day you struggle with one thing that you won't struggle with tomorrow, but then you're going to struggle with something else. Like, that's just life. We just have to learn. We have to learn how to deal with it. We have to learn how to overcome whatever fear or whatever issue we have. So, I hope this helps. someone. Like I said, I do get a lot of young girls that, slide into my DMs, and I try to show them as much love as I can and support. And because I've been there, I know how it is, and I have a big like I'm weak in the knees when I see like younger women reaching out to me and being brave enough to reach out to a complete stranger and just like, hey, I'm going through this. Like, it just really like it means the world, because I know how hard that is. And I hope this is able to help you. If it does, you know what to do. If you can just give me a like, I would totally appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, I will be posting more stuff about fitness and just anything that I think might be helpful. So I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking through. And hope you have an amazing day.